everyone, my name's Lina. I'm a data analytics consultant at the Information Lab UK, and today I'm going to walk you through Alteryx Challenge 468, Many to Many Like It Hot Part 1. So for this week's challenge, we have 3 different inputs, and what we want is one final output. So let's have a little bit of a look of what we need to do for this challenge. So our goal in this challenge is to identify the viscosity and flavor labels associated with each source. So our inputs are basically different parts of reviews regarding a particular hot sauce. And we'll have a look at the data in just a second, so you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But in the end, we want to turn these 3 different inputs into a single output. So we need to find the viscosity labels for each source. We need to find the flavor labels associated with each source, and also ensure that each source ID is unique in the final output. So basically we don't want any duplicate rows, and we want everything on one line. So let's have a look at the different inputs that we have, and as you can see that we actually have 3 of them. So let's just go down. So we've got the hot sauce data. So when we look at it in the browse tool, and let me pull my view up, you can see that we have repeated IDs, we have repeated manufacturer IDs, and as you scroll across you can see that we have repeated names. At first it just seems like we've just got duplicated data, but when we actually scroll across to the right, you can actually see that these are different tasting IDs. So this is basically a different review. And if we go towards the end, you can see that we've got our viscosities, but for the final output we actually also need the flavor. So if I go to the second table, which is called Tasting and Flavors 1, this table essentially acts as the bridge between our first table and our final table. So we've got just a row ID, we've also got the tasting, and we also have the flavor. But of course with the flavor, they're just numbers. We don't actually have the associated flavors, so I can't tell if number 1 is spicy or sweet or hot. We're not really too sure. But another thing to note is that for a single tasting, we've got 4 different rows of data. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. So to get our data to the place that we want it to be, to even think about getting those singular rows, what we're going to do is we're going to need to join these tables together. So I'm just going to go up into my favorites tabs, or you can just go to the join tab here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag on a join onto my canvas. So since we have tasting and flavors up here, I'm just going to drag that to the left join, and then I'm going to drag flavors to the right. So if we have another look at the data once more, in the tastings and flavors, we've got flavor here. Just zoom in so you can see we've got flavor. And within our flavors table, we also have IDs. So this is likely going to be where we're going to join them onto. So if you go onto the join, and then join by specific fields, you can basically say which fields are joining to what. So in our left table, the tastings and flavors, we're going to choose flavor. And then on the right, we're not going to choose flavor. Instead, what we're going to choose is ID. So we can also configure what we want in our output. So I'm just going to get rid of, I believe, flavor from the left table and ID. Since we don't need those anymore, we just need the tasting ID and also what flavor it's associated with. Because at this stage, we actually don't know which of these flavors correspond to which sources. We only know which tastings that they're associated with. So I'm just going to quickly run this. And now, when we look at our output, you can see we've got right flavor, and we've got the tasting, and then we have the ID. So now everything should be populated with a word instead of a number. So now what we want to do is to find out which hot sauce that these ones belong to. So once again, I'm going to bring another join and drag that down. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our newly made join, and we're going to put this onto the right here. And then we're going to actually grab our original table and join it onto the left here. So once again, if we have a look into the data source, just to see what we can try and join things on, as I mentioned previously, we have a tasting ID. So each of these tasting IDs are unique, and we also have a very similar field within our tasting and flavors, which is our tasting. So once again, we're going to configure this join. So on our left, we're going to find that tasting ID. We just select tasting ID, and on the right, we're going to go for tasting. And then once again, you can always get rid of these columns because we don't necessarily need them anymore, but you can also leave them in. So I'm just going to get rid of tasting ID because we've got tasting. So once again, I'm going to hit run on this. And now when I click on it, you can see that our rows have essentially exploded because we're doing something called a many-to-many join. So within this table, we have loads of different tastings, but each tasting has multiple flavors that they can have. So if we look back at this one, for example, tasting 126 has 4 different flavors. So this is going to duplicate the review row within the hot sauce data 4 times. But now we have our data at this stage, we now know which of those flavors are associated to those sauces. So now we can do a little bit more to try and get those final outputs. Just going to clean up my canvas a little bit, move that out of the way. So now what we want to do is we want to find out for each source ID or each source, we want to know how many times specific flavors appear. So we can do this using something called the summarize tool, which is up here, or you can find it within the transform tab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag a summarize tool onto my canvas, and now you can see that the view on the left, the configuration panel has now changed. So what we want to do is we want to find how many times a specific flavor appears for every single source. So what we want to do is we want to group by the source ID, and then what we want to do is group by the flavor. And then of course we want to know how many times those flavors appear, so then we also want to do a count. So essentially here, what we're telling Alteryx is for every single unique flavor that appears for every single source, tell me how many times this appears within the data. So I'm just going to rename this to flavor. And then I'm going to hit run. And now you can see for source ID 2, we have 5 different flavors that these reviews have picked up. For source number 3, we've got 4, and so on and so forth. So just for readability purposes, what we're going to do is we're going to bring on a formula tool, so we're just going to structure it. Since these 2 values are currently in 2 different columns, we need a way to bring them together so we know how many times someone said that source 2 was garlicky, how many times that someone said that the review said that source 2 had peppers in it. So we can do this using something called the formula tool. So once again, it is within the favorites tab, or you can go to the preparation tab and find it there. So I'm going to just drag this onto my canvas. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new column. So I'm just going to call this count flavor, for example. And it's already defined as a variable string, so I'll just leave it as that. But since the counts are actually doubles, we are actually unable to concatenate them. So what we can do in here is we can just change that to a string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in toString, and then I'm just going to put the count column. And since it's now a string, what we can do is now we can just add a plus in between. And then I'm just going to formulate it with an X so we can see like 3 times, 2 times, for example. So I'm just going to open quotes, put an X in, put a space in just for formulating it, put another quote. And then what we want to do is now we also want to add the flavor. So I'm just also going to put another plus, and then I'm going to add the flavour column in. So now you can see in our data preview, it now says 1 times garlicky. So once again, I'm going to run this. And now when we look at our output, we have the count of flavour here, and now it's basically concatenated our strings together. So we've now got the count and the flavour. So now what we want to do is only have one row for source ID, but we want all of these flavours next to one another. So we can do this once again with a summarize tool. So if you just go back into the top tab, drag in another summarize tool, and now what we want to do is we still want to group by source ID, but now because we're dealing with a string, we can actually aggregate these fields differently. So when you actually go into the add field now, so if you click on count and flavour and go into the add, if you scroll down to the bottom, there is a section called string, which is usually grayed out if the data types don't match. And instead what we want to do is we want to concatenate. And now when we click concatenate, we've got concatenate properties. So this is where you can specify how the strings will formulate. So say for example, if I click source ID, this action has no properties. But if I go to the counter flavour, we've got the concatenate properties. So currently it's just separating by a single comma. And I'm just going to run this, so I'll show you what it looks like. And as you can see, everything is very close together. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to add a space, and I'm just going to change this to flavours. So essentially you can rename your output fields within the summarize tools as well. So now if you look at our final output, now we have all of the flavours nicely concatenated. So if I just expand this, we've got all of them listed here. So now what we want to do is we want to do the same exact thing but with viscosities. But instead of using this data set, we have to use this one. And the reason being is because we've got lots of duplicated rows. So if we scroll across, now we have this viscosity 5 times. So if we do a count, for example, this isn't going to work. So we can just use the original data set, but we're going to carry out the same exact steps as we did before. So once again, grabbing on a summarize tool, we're going to join that here. And it's very, very similar to the flavours. So once again, we're going to group by source ID. And then we're also going to group by viscosity, so the actual word instead of the ID. And then once again, we're going to ask Alteryx to do a count for us. So I'm going to run this. And there we go. Very, very similar to the flavours below. So we can see source ID, we've got different viscosities here, same for source 5, source 10, etc. So once again, if you bring in a formula tool, we're going to write the same formula. So we're going to create a new column, and we're just going to call it count of viscosities. And once again, we're going to have to do a toString. And then we're going to do the count once more. We're going to do a plus, open quote, an X, a space, another quote, a plus, and then our column, viscosity. So now we can see in our data preview, we've got the 2 times average. So I'm going to hit run on this. And once again, we're going to summarize it. So we only get those individual lines for each of those IDs. So once again, for source ID, we're going to group by source ID, and then we're going to concatenate these. So if we scroll down, go to string, concatenate, add a space next to our separator, and then we're going to run this. And now as you can see, when we run this, we now have only one line for every single source. So now to get our final output, so we have every single row being source ID name, then the viscosity, and then the flavor, we're going to use, once more, a join. So just bring the join onto the canvas once more. And it doesn't really matter which way you kind of join these up. But since both of these fields have the source IDs, that is what we can join on. So when we specify what we're joining on, if we choose source ID, it will automatically choose source ID. If I just expand this a little bit more, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the source ID from the right hand side, and I'm just going to change this to viscosities, since I didn't change it in the summarize tool, but it's not too much of a problem. It's just more so that we can actually read it and understand what it is. Just going to minimize that and run this once more. And now when we look at our final output, now we can see the source ID, the viscosities, and also all of the flavors for that particular line. So there we go. That is the solution to Alteryx Challenge 468. So thank you for watching. I hope that this tutorial was helpful, and join us next week for another tutorial.